Hey, what's up? I'm coming back to y'all with the review for episodes 5 and 6 for All the Queen's Men, starring Eva Marcel. It's a show on BET Plus. I think it just came out a few days ago, like earlier last week. So, episode number 5, I'm mixing both episodes together. So, in these two episodes, um, the episode number 5 comes back on with Madam still talking to Judge Ross. That's her name, Ross. Madam is talking to Judge Ross, and she's letting her know that you're my bitch now, basically, and you're gonna have to do what I say do, and it's gonna be a case come across your desk in court for me to get power of attorney over my father, basically, and yeah, I'm gonna bring it to your court, and you're gonna do what you need to do to sign it and give me power of attorney over my dad. She goes back inside the club. Um, Blue brings Amp inside the club, I believe. I mean, brings Amp into Madam's office. No, and Madam is in there talking to Amp. And then that's when Blue brings in the other doorman. And they speak about the fact, Amp thought it was time for him to leave. But Madam told him to stay there. So then they speak about the fact that the money was, the count or something was off with how many people came in the club and how much money they made off the door at the club. So the guy immediately says, "I told you about hiring these new young niggas. Basically, he probably stole." I saw him double clicking the counter several times, double and triple clicking the counter, or something he was saying. Immediately, Madam shoots him and lets him know that she knows it was him, so it was all a setup from the jump. She lets him know she knew it was him who um who was doing this, because this is her nephew, and her nephew not gonna lie, and he's not gonna steal from her. So obviously, this has been something that's been going on for a while, and she just set it up so she could figure out, sniff out the rat, basically who was doing what. She what happened? So then after that, I believe she gets a phone call. Um, let me see. Ooh, something's burning my eye. Okay, so this in this episode, she also, like I said, it picks up. Ooh, my eye is like, ooh, I'm sorry, y'all. My eye is burning for some reason. Oh, I was eating some shrimp earlier, but I didn't touch my face and get any of that shrimp stuff in my eye, so I don't know what blew in my eye that fast. But I'm sorry. Back to the show. So, uh, Amp goes get ready to go home, I guess, or whatever. Um, um, Madam gets a call from Shamika. It's the next day. Um, Madam gets a phone call from Shamika saying something. She whispering or whatever, acting like something's wrong or whatever. So Madam tells her Shamika's the little foster child. So she tells Shamika to meet her at this little restaurant that they already been to once before. She tells Madam that the foster parents have put her out, and Madam tries to inquire more about what's going on at the foster in her foster house, and she's not really giving up any information. She just says that they put her out. So Madam gives her money. Madam tells her when she turns 18, she might look into trying to help her get a job. So Shamika says, "Where? At your club?" So of course, Madam is taken aback, like, "What? What do you mean? How do you know I have a club?" And she's like, "Oh, I googled you. I googled it and found out." Madam also that morning has a meeting with Miss Patty about representing her in front of Judge Ross in the case of her father. So she gives Miss Patty all the information she needs, and they talk about the affidavits and different things that they need for the judge to go ahead and do what she said, what Madam is forcing her to do, which is to sign the papers, so that she can have power of attorney. Um, this is when Patty finds out that she's presenting this case in front of Judge Ross, who's the same judge she caught in a VIP room on top of Babyface. And I forgot to mention that when she went in there, she yelled "Face" like she was his girlfriend walking in. But I'm like, lady, you pay this man for sexual stuff. He is not yours. You don't own him. And I guess in her mind, I'm paying you for all these things. I got you an apartment. Please disregard the power and lawn equipment you hear in the background. But I guess in her mind, I'm paying you. I pay for all these things, which means that you should be mine. But it doesn't work like that. You can't have control over a freaking stripper. He's an exotic dancer. He's a sex worker. He's going to do whatever it takes to get money. And right now, this child support case with his baby moms is what's important, and so he want to keep the judge off his back in that case. So therefore, he gonna do sexual favors for her, like she blackmailing him to do. But now the tables have turned, and Madam is asking you to basically help her get the power of attorney for her father, and then things will go from there. She blackmailing the judge or whatever. Madam got her ways to get the things that she needs. So we also get Bluelette's. Um, I don't know if it was Blue or Doc, but we find out that Tina, Alan's wife. She's disappeared. She skipped town. She's gone. So Red, we pan over to it's still the morning, or sometime midday. Amp is asleep. Red wakes Amp up. Yo, what happened in the club? Was it a lot of money in there? It was big bitches. It was pretty bitches in there. Whatever. How was it like working there the first night or whatever? So Amp is irritated that Red has woken him up to ask him about what's going on at the club or whatever. So Amp get up and also finds out that Mr. Paul, the the PO, um, requested a drug test from Amp. So Amp has to go downstairs to take the drug test or whatever. So he do that. Um, while they were sitting in the room talking though, Red, they hear some ruckus, and Amp like, what's that? And Red like, some nigga test came up dirty, and so they come out of the room and come downstairs to see the police beating on and escorting the guy out. We find out that Mr. Paul thinks Amp is dirty. According to Red, this is what Red tells Amp, that Mr. Paul, the PO, thinks Amp is dirty. Pan over to the club again. Amp is at the club. He walks into the den, which is where the premiere dancers get dressed and stuff like that. Of course, they all surround him. They don't know who he is, and of course, you have to have special permission to be in that room. So that happens. At some point, he goes and talks to his aunt and tells her that he's thinking about, actually, he wants to get money to get out of that daggone to get out of that halfway house. He trying to bank, stack his money so he can have enough to get him a place and probably furnish it and stuff like that. He's uneasy about Red too. I don't think he trusts Red, and neither does Madam. That's why she told him she didn't have any openings. But he tells her that he want to go and try out for the amateur night or whatever. So she's like, okay. She said, well, the guys will help you out. Go and ask them. And he lets her know that he already tried. He went in the den and they surrounded him and put him out the den. And that's when she lets him know, well, you got to get escorted in there by the queen herself, because it's the queen's den for the premier dancers. And, you got to be a premier dancer to be in that room. So she takes him to the room and tells the guys that this is her nephew. And they all welcome him in and apologize for how they treated him earlier or whatever. She pulls Doc to the side and tells Doc she wants him to work with her nephew and get him acclimated to what it's like to be a dancer or whatever. And tells him to show him around, show him the ropes. So we get to a point where they're in the club and uh, Doc is showing Amp the ropes, how to seduce the women and all that kind of stuff, how to get them to give you so much money and, every eye contact, the movements, the touching, just everything that encompasses being an exotic dancer and selling the fantasy. So he was like, you know what, let's get somebody as a represent the women that would be coming in the club. So DJ Diamond's there, so Doc asks her, can she volunteer to come sit up there? So Amp can, practice how he would do as far as like, building up the anticipation, selling the fantasy and stuff. So he does that, and I don't know if I mentioned already, but Amp got googly eyes for Dom, but I'm not so sure if she has googly eyes for him, because it kind of seemed like she has googly eyes for Trouble, the female dancer, the stud dancer, or whatever. So he does his little moves, and he gets to one where he's like touching Dime's leg or whatever, and after that, she must have got a little tingle down south, and she was like, "Oh, I gotta get back to work," so she leaves and goes back to work or whatever. Um, they also have the um the men that we saw in the audition with Madam and Dime in another episode. We see all of them come out and do a dance. They do their little routine or whatever on the stage and stuff like that. And they do their little dance. And we also see when they was backstage, we also see that there's this other junior dancer. He comes barging in to the Queen's Den, which is the men's premier dancers room. He barged in there talking about he needed to use their bathroom. Of course, they jumped on him. I think that was in a different episode, previous episode. But he barged in on them or whatever, trying to use their restroom. And they was like, no, you're supposed to use the one on the other side or whatever. And the dancer who met Madam in the restaurant that walked up to her about auditioning with the white girlfriend, his name's Jay. He said he from Alabama. He is in back there in the dressing room with these little peach little booty shorts on that his girlfriend made him. I believe is what he told the dancer. And the other it was a dancer in there. First, the one who got put out of the Queen's Den was in there, and he was telling Jay, they don't give a fuck about you. Madam don't care about nobody but them niggas in their queens. In the Queen's Den, she take all your money. She took all my money. I don't make no money in this damn club or whatever. And he walks off. And that's when this other dancer named Freedom walks up. Freedom is played by the same. I think his name's pronounced Mikhail or Michael. It's just it's spelled different. It's spelled in an odd way. But he's also the guy that Jill Scott is engaged to on First Wives Club season number 2. So he comes in. Jay is questioning him about Madam take all y'all money and stuff, and he's like, man, don't listen to him talking about the other guy. He's a meth head. He do drugs. He smoke all his money up. That's what be happening or whatever. So he acts like he's befriending Jay and talking about some. Come on, I'm gonna take you up under my wing. I'm gonna show you the ropes. What's that you got on? And he was like, my girl made me these. His little shorts or whatever. And so he said, you look real nervous. He said, I am. So Freedom gives Jay a drink. Remember, Jay is an amateur dancer, and this is his first night working. He gives Jay this drink, and Jay takes it. It was a shot. And Jay has already said that he doesn't do drugs and stuff. So he just takes the shot of the drink and he goes out there and dances. So we see the club, things going on or whatever. He out there dancing. We see Doc working the room, working the crowd. And as he's working the crowd, this woman comes from somewhere and she just walks up to him and just throw him all these ones on him and looking at him and his face very intensely or whatever. And she just give him the money and she drop it off. And she go on about her business. So he keeps dancing and then we see him head to another part of the club where there's a bar. He speaks to some lady that's sitting there, tell her she beautiful or whatever, selling the fantasy. And he goes up to this other woman at the bar, and the other woman is the woman who just threw the money at him a little while ago. And he speaks to her or whatever, saying like, long time no see. And she was like, you don't remember me. And he's like, yeah, I do remember you. Your name's Teresa or whatever. So obviously them two did something or had something in the past, and she just disappeared on him. And so they speak. This lady, she looks like a younger, slimmer Mary J. Blige to me. So they speak, they have their words, and the scene goes to something else. It goes back inside the club. Jay, the amateur dancer, he out there dancing, but he's sweating profusely. And the lady is like, why are you sweating so bad? She pushing him away, pushing him off her. And then she's pushing him off of her. He starts like, he can't keep his eyes open. He starts slumping and everything. He couldn't get himself together. He started looking like he about to pass out. And I guess Blue catches it. So she gets another bouncer or somebody to come help her. And they drag him to the back, into the dressing room in the back. And they smacking him, trying to get him to come to. They throw water on him, cold ice water on him to get him to come to. And they put their fingers in his mouth, make him puke. And so Freedom standing off to the side talking about, they questioning Jay, smacking him. What you have, nigga? What kind of drugs you on? What you take? And he incoherent, of course. So Jay lies. Freedom says he. Freedom says he took some kind of drugs. I forgot what kind of drugs he said. I'm like, you a lie. He didn't take any drugs. He only had that drink that you gave him. But we're gonna leave that there for right now. So that happens. They tell him, they tell Jay, get your shit and get out. You can't come back to this club. So they put him out. So the night ends. Ampton got his practice in for dancing, whatever. I guess he gonna dance at the next amateur night or something like that. Uh, they all leaving the club together, and they come outdoors. There's a bike parked at the entrance of the club with a note on it. The bike belongs to Babyface. And the note says, this is what you were riding when you met me. Take your, this is it. And as he sees that, they see a tow truck pulling off with a SUV on the back. And it's Babyface's SUV that Miss Patty was paying for. So obviously, Miss Patty then took the car back and probably took that apartment back too. Amp looks at Babyface and say, "Well, can I keep the bike then since you don't want it?" Because Midnight volunteers to take Babyface home, and when Amp asks for the bike, Midnight is Babyface is already feeling some kind of way, so they all walking off. And Midnight tells Amp, come on, your aunt kill us if we leave you here with this freaking bike. Come on. So they all leave and go wherever they going. And we pick back up inside the club, and the detective comes in. Cat had already, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but Blue had already told Madam that she was told by Cat that there's a female detective going around, investigating the disappearance of Alan. And eventually she was going to make her way to Madam. So she comes in the club, says she's looking for Marilyn Madam, and I forget the last name. And so she comes in, Madam's like, that's me. So she asks her a few questions or whatever. when she started to ask the questions, the episode goes off. So we get to episode number 6. Episode number 6 opens up with um episode number 6 picks off. It's the morning again. Um they all getting ready to go to court. Madam had already asked Babyface to meet her at court and to trust her. So they all set off to go to court. Patty files the motion, brings the do all her stuff. They in court in front of Judge Ross. Madam had it set up where, cause she knew the sister doesn't really know who was inside the house, cause she know daggone well that Babyface wasn't there. But uh, the judge asked the sister Carla, did she see the man who was in her house in the courtroom? And the sister pointed to daggone Babyface, and we all know that it was not Babyface that was in their house or whatever. So the judge does what she promises that she's gonna do. She signs off on the paperwork, and um, Madam gets the power of attorney to make the decision to put her father in a home because she feels like the sister isn't doing her best to take care of their father. And I kind of like agree because, like I said before, every time we see the father, he was inside the house by himself. And the sister just happened to be walking in maybe 5 or 10 minutes after we see him sitting there by himself. And maybe it is true that she just want to keep the father to get a check, because you get a check for that or whatever to take care of him. So the case get heard. They get the they leave the courtroom, and somehow Madam and Patty make their way to the judge's chambers, and they have a conversation. And then that's when the Judge Ross lets Patty know that that's my neighbor's dog. Sorry, my neighbor and my cousin's mom. That's their dogs, but they live across the alley. Excuse me, we saw a spit. They live across the alley from me. But anyway, Judge Ross says to Patty, like, you was in on it, you all a part of this shit. She blackmailed me to make me do this. And Patty's like, what? And so that's when Madam says, yeah, she was blackmailing Babyface and getting free sex out of him. And I blackmailed her. Or whatever. And then that's when Miss Patty feels bad about how she acted towards him. And, because apparently she changed the locks on that apartment too or whatever. So he been, it's going to come out. I think they said it already. He been sleeping at the club, I think. So, we pan over to the halfway house. Amp is in the bathroom practicing moves because I guess he gonna perform at amateur night tonight at the club. Red walks straight in the bathroom. No knock, no, just opens the door. Who the hell, what man just opens the door on a bathroom door at that? On another man? I'm so sick of Red. I know something is up with him, but I just can't put my finger on it. But something's up with him. He walks in on Amp practicing. Amp get himself together and comes down the step. The man who owns the halfway house, Mr. Bill, talks shit to Amp and calls him all kind of niggas and say slick shit out the mouth to him. Amp goes on and leaves. So that's when Red comes in like, hey yo, so we got that nigga out of here yesterday. How much money do you think we gonna make off of that? We gotta keep getting this money. And he told Mr. Bill told him to lower his voice because he was a little bit loud. And he was like, well, what about that nigga that just walked out here, whatever? So Red gives him, his aunt, she got that club over there, Club Eating. They making crazy bank over there. I think he's setting up to try to dance or whatever. He ain't did nothing yet, but he going to dance. And basically, the scheme we learn of their scheme. They set people up so they can they set people up to do shit for money and then get them locked back up. And that's what they did to the guy before. And they were talking about somebody they set up to rob a bank or rob somewhere. And once that person did the robbery, they took the person's money and the person went to jail. So that's how they do it. They set you up to do something. You think you got away with it. You bring your spoils or your winnings or whatever it is you got back to the halfway house. And once you get back to the halfway house, they set you up to get locked back up. Say you violated, send you back to jail, and especially once they know where you stashed whatever it is that you got. So that's what they do. They they steal and send guys back to jail. And Red was like, "That's how I got my name. I'm a Red Devil. I do what I do because I got to get out of here." And so Mr. Bill tells Red, "You know, you've been here 2 months. It's about time you get the fuck out of here anyway." So, um, the club, the club night goes on and all that kind of stuff like that. This night, Amp actually does his dance, and he does really, really good. And wait a minute, it's something that I left out. I did. In episode number 5, at the end, when the guys left the club, Midnight took Babyface and Amp home where they had to go. El Fuego wasn't with. I don't believe El Fuego was with them when they was coming out of the club. I don't remember, but I do remember Doc being with them. And Doc looked over and he saw the lady Teresa that he saw inside the club. She obviously was sitting outside waiting for him to come out. He gets in the car with her, and once again, the actor playing Doc is Bolo. Bolo shows us why he is the Bolo that everybody was talking about last year on Housewives, and people been talking about him before then. People who actually have seen him perform or whatever. Him and that lady do that thing in her car. It was she gets hers and he asks her, "Well, when we gonna hook up? When can I see you again?" She tells him basically, "I'll let you know. Now get out." And she puts him out of her car after she gets done with it, get her rocks off or whatever. And she's actually married. We see her wedding band. And she rolls her window up to pull off or whatever. So they leave. Now fast forward to where I'm at now. Amp does his dance. Amp does really, really good. He asks DJ Dime to hold his money. Actually, before Amp dances, all the guys that were at the audition, they actually do a dance with all of them together on the stage. And when they are finished doing their dance, that's when they bring Amp out, and Amp get to do a solo as an amateur. He gets a solo, basically getting special and preferential treatment because he's the owner's nephew. But let me tell you something. When those guys came on the stage, when amateurs was out on the stage together, it was this one dance and he had these checkety briefs on, looked like some bikini shorts. The checker looked like the checker cab. This nigga was slow-moing into a fucking split, and it had me falling out laughing. Like, why are you so slow-moing into a split like this? If y'all didn't pay attention to that part, go back to episode number 6 and watch that again. He slow-moes into this freaking split, goes down, comes back up, and keeps dancing or whatever. But yeah, so they all dance together. Amp gets to do his solo. After his solo was over, and all that money he collected, he puts it in a bag. He asks Dom to hold it for him while he go do whatever else he's doing around the club. Um, uh, Madam is in her office. Blue comes in the office and tells Madam, no, before all of that even happened, let me rewind a bit. Before the day gets started, Jay shows back up at the club. Sorry, y'all. That's my mom coming to the door being nosy. I told her I was coming out to make a video. But she gotta try to eavesdrop and figure out what you talking about. Or whatever. But anyway. Before the club opened that night, Jay comes back And remember, Blue told him he couldn't come back because he was a junkie. Jay comes back, and Blue's like, nigga, what you doing here? Like, I told you couldn't come back. He said, what you talking about? And she said, what is you, dumb? You did drugs. And he was like, I don't know what happened last night. I ain't do no damn drugs. I only had one drink. She said, you only had one drink. He said, yeah. Freedom gave me. No, he said, yeah, I only had one drink. She said, did you get it from the bar? You came out to the bar and got a drink. He said, no. I was in the back. I was looking nervous, and Freedom gave me a drink. So that's when Blue puts it together that Freedom drugged Jay in the back of that club. She said, nigga, you was drugged. And he still like, huh? He still dumbfounded. He don't get it. But she makes it clear to him that Freedom drugged you. So she gives him another chance. He goes in the back to go get himself together and get changed to dance or whatever. And here come Freedom popping his ass back up and saying something to him. Talking about, nigga, what was you on last night? And whatever, playing it up. And Jay's like, you know what the fuck I was on. You drugged me. And he was like, no, you ain't have enough water. And Jay is like, what? Water? He was like, yeah, you was dehydrated. So, Jay is still falling for the way that Freedom is spinning his drugging story or whatever. So now, back to Madam in the office. Madam is in her office. Blue comes in, says, it's a girl outside looking for you, a young girl. Is this the young foster child? Is this the foster child you've been trying to help out? So Madam like, what? So she goes outside, and it's actually Shamika, the foster child. And Madam is like, what are you doing here? Why would you show up at my club? And I don't want to go. And she's back to her story. Because sometimes I don't want to go there. I don't want to go home. I don't want to go there. So again, Madam tries to get to the bottom of it. Like, what's going on there that you don't want to go home? She doesn't give Madam any clues. She said, they're not nice. I just don't like it there. I don't want to go home. So she said, all right, I'm going to have somebody take you home. Because we're going to figure this shit out. No. That's okay. You don't got to take me home. I can't come in the club. And Madam's like, no, you underage. You cannot come in this club or whatever. So she gives Shamika some money and told her she'll see her the next day. And Shamika's like, well, I'll get the bus. I don't want nobody. You don't have to take me. You don't have to get nobody to take me. I can get there by myself. I'll just ride the bus. I'll stay on the bus. Because she's saying, I think she told Madam that she had slept in on one of the a subway train or a bus or something like that the night before. So she leaves saying she catching the bus to go back to the foster family, to their house. Madam tells Blue, follow her. Because I want to get to the bottom of this. Like, what the hell is going on? And, Blue's like, what do you think is going on? And, of course, Madam, like, I know what it's like to be, a kid and somebody doing stuff to you. So Madam is under the impression that the foster father is messing with her, molesting her, coming to her room at night and shit, doing something to her. So she says, Blue, go follow her. Blue follows this girl home. She's standing outside the house. She pull up. She outside of a window. Now tell me, I wonder if they filmed this at Tyler Perry Studios, because he is executive producer on this show. When they panning from scene to scene and they showing the freeway and stuff like that inside the city, all of it looks the same. In this house that Blue pulls up to, the outside looks the same as the outside of the house on Roofless when one of the guys catches the highest doing it to one of his disciples, one of the guys, because the highest don't have. If I'm sorry if I'm ruining it for you, but on the show Roofless, the highest, which is the priest that's in charge of the cult, he don't have sex with the women. He have sex with the men. So on there, one of the guys, another man that was supposed to be undercover, caught him having sex with another man. And in that, the window was up. Was the window up? And it was open, and you could see right in there and see what they was doing. And this is the same thing that happened. Blue comes to the house, and she looks in the window, And Shamika is bent over the bed, and the man behind her is pounding her from behind. She calls Madam. Now, who having sex? I said to myself as I'm watching this, what foster father? I mean, I've never been a foster child or anything. I've never been in the system. Um, I haven't been molested, so I don't know. But I'm just thinking, if you one of those kind of people that's nasty like that, who would be raping their foster child in front of a window with the window up where people can actually see and hear what you're doing? No matter what time of night it was, you know? That was weird to me. But anyway, Blue calls Madam and tell Madam what she sees. Tell her that, your intuition was right. He over here having sex with her. He's on top of her right now. Madam asks Midnight to go meet Blue over there. Madam tells Blue that she coming, but she sends Midnight, and she tells Midnight bring him back here. And so we see in the club, Amp goes and gets his money, his earnings for the night. He goes and get them from Dime. I think Dime might have offered him a ride back to the halfway house or something like that too. She's showing a little bit of interest at this point in him. But I think maybe she goes both ways, because I swear she was giving googly eyes to the stud, and now she's giving googly eyes a little bit to Amp, because he actually asked her out on a date too, seeing if they could go hang out and kick it at some point or whatever. But anyway, pan back to Blue at Midnight bringing a naked man with a bag over his head. I don't think they ever took the bag off his head, but Madam questions him. Nigga, he like, what's going on? Why y'all kidnapped me? This review long as hell. And he's like, why y'all kidnap me? Like, what's going on? And she's like, you like fucking on little girls? And he said, what little girl? She said, your foster kids. And he's like, what foster kid? I don't have any foster kids. She was like, you got so many you don't realize? And she said, Shamika. And he was like, who is that? And he was like, and she said, that's your foster child. He was like, I don't have a foster child or whatever. And so I think he says his name and says he has a wife that he was in the middle of having sex. He was having sex with the wife because they went in there and took him as she was already supposedly sleeping. But we don't see this happening. We just see them arrive to the office with him. And he was like, I have a wife. I don't have a foster child. And he says what his wife's name is and stuff like that. And Madam tells them to take him to some other room. And the guy drags him out with the bag still over his head. They never removed the bag. And her and Blue give each other a look. And now I'm just like, what the fuck? So you lying like you don't have a foster family. You're a whole grown up. Like, what's going on, So that's where the episode goes off. And I'll be back later sometime with episodes 7 and 8. I hope you guys enjoy this long review of me getting through this. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I sure am. It's a nice little warm day with a breeze here. I'm about to go and do what us Baltimoreans like to do. If you like seafood, I'm about to go pick out on some crabs and shrimp. I'll see y'all next time. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more of my randomness. Because I don't know what I'm going to turn this channel into. We'll be doing on this channel, but I'm just feeling this whole YouTube thing out right now, so to speak. I've done some hauls. I still have some to put together and upload. Some try-ons of different items. So I'll check you guys next time. Thanks for anybody that came to check me out and watch this whole review. I appreciate it.